The signal in the void, the stars outside were quiet. Nothing moved. Deep in the edge of Sector 9, space felt colder than usual. Patrol ship Hawk 7 floated alone, its lights dim, its engines silent. Inside the ship, human officer Raylan Jennings sat in his chair, reading the strange message again. It had come through only once. A short, broken signal. No name, no coordinates, just one word. Help. Are you sure it wasn't a ghost signal? Raylan asked. His partner, an alien officer named Sarah Vach, stood beside him. She had blue skin, silver eyes, and moved like a shadow. I checked the signal twice, she said. It's real, and it came from a cargo ship registered as Vector Dawn. That ship was reported missing 3 months ago. Raylan nodded. Let's go find it. The Hawk 7 approached the source. Floating in the dark was the Vector Dawn, a large rusty cargo ship. Its lights were off. No signs of life, no movement. Power is still active, Sarah said. Life support is running at low levels. But where's the crew? Raylan muttered. They docked their ship and entered the cargo vessel. The air inside smelled old, like metal and oil. The halls were dark, with only small red lights blinking now and then. This place gives me a bad feeling, Raylan said. They moved slowly through the ship. The walls were scratched. Broken equipment lay on the floor. Crates were everywhere, but many were sealed tight. Suddenly they heard a sound. Tap, tap, tap. It was soft, like tiny footsteps. They both stopped. Did you hear that? Raylan whispered. Sarah nodded, already holding her stun weapon. They followed the sound through the hallway. Then they turned a corner, and something ran past them. Fast. Small. Almost silent. Raylan pointed his light. Nothing there. We're not alone, he said. They reached the lower cargo bay. It was huge. Tall crates were stacked high and long shadows danced across the walls. Another sound. This time, a whimper. A small cry. Sarah moved quickly. She opened one of the crates near the back. Her eyes widened. Inside was a child, an alien child. Thin, shaking, scared. Her eyes were large and glowing slightly in the dark. Hey, Raylan said gently. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you. The child backed into the corner of the crate, too scared to speak. Sarah knelt down. She's terrified, she said. Look at the collar on her neck. It's for tracking. Someone was keeping her prisoner. Why would a cargo ship carry alien children? Raylan asked. Sarah stood and looked around. Let's check the other crates. They opened more crates, one after another. Every time they found another child. Different species, all scared. Some too weak to stand. Some barely breathing. This isn't cargo, Sarah said. This is trafficking. Raylan clenched his fists. Who would do this? Just then, a loud bang echoed through the ship. Boom! They both turned. The door they had entered through had shut on its own. That wasn't us, Raylan said. Someone's still on this ship. Sarah touched her wrist and tried to contact Hawk 7. No signal. Something's jamming communications. Let's get these kids out of here first, Raylan said. As they moved, one of the children tugged Sarah's sleeve. He pointed to the back of the cargo bay. What is it? She asked softly. He didn't speak, just pointed. They followed him. He led them to a small maintenance door hidden behind some crates. It was slightly open. Raylan peered inside. A long, dark tunnel stretched beyond. I think this ship has more secrets than we thought, he said, as they stared into the darkness. A whisper came from the shadows. You shouldn't have come here. Crates of secrets. The silence inside the cargo ship felt heavy, like a blanket of fear. Raylan's heart beat faster. Behind him, the rescued, children huddled together, scared and cold. Sarah stood watch, her silver eyes locked on the dark tunnel ahead. We're not alone, Raylan whispered. Someone's still here. Sarah nodded. The child led us to this tunnel for a reason. The tunnel was narrow and filled with old wires and broken panels. They stepped carefully, listening. Every small sound echoed like thunder. Clang, somewhere ahead. Metal hit metal. They froze. "Stay behind me," Raylan said, raising his blaster. They moved forward. The air grew, colder. The light from Raylan's wrist lamp shook with each step. At the end of the tunnel, they found a door. It was half open. Inside was a small room filled with screens, control panels, and blinking lights. Sarah gasped. "This is a hidden command room, not part of the ship's design." Raylan walked in and looked at the monitors. Footage showed cages, children inside them, not just from this ship, but from multiple ships. "This is bigger than we thought," he said. Sarah tapped a screen. "Look, here, logs of cargo numbers, dates, buyer codes. This was a smuggling network." They found a black box, an encrypted device. Raylan picked it up. "We'll take this. It could expose whoever did this." Just then, static buzzed on. One of the monitors. A face appeared, a masked figure. Cold voice. "No name." "You shouldn't have opened the crates," the voice said. Sarah stepped forward. "Who are you?" "You've seen too much. Leave now, or you'll join them." The screen went black. Back in the cargo bay, they rushed to gather the children. Raylan tried to send a message to the Hawk 7, but the signal was still blocked. "We have to leave now," he said. But when they reached the airlock, it was sealed. "We're trapped," Sarah said. Suddenly the lights went out. Darkness. Complete. Small cry came from behind them. The children started to panic. "Stay calm," Raylan shouted. Then from the far end of the cargo bay they saw something moving. A tall figure walked through the shadows, slow, quiet, and holding a weapon. Raylan aimed. "Who's there?" No answer. Sarah scanned with her wrist device. One, life form. Humanoid, armed. They moved to protect the children. The figure came closer. And then, it stopped. A beam of light from Sarah's wrist caught its face. A human officer. "Commander Voss?" Raylan said in shock. Voss was Raylan's former superior. He had been declared missing 6 months ago. Raylan said. "You're alive." Voss smiled, but there was no kindness in his eyes. "You should have left, Raylan," he said. "This operation was never meant for you to see." Raylan's voice was cold. "You're part of this?" "Not just part of it," Voss replied. "I built it. These alien children are worth millions. No one will miss them. No one cares." Sarah stepped forward, furious. "They're children, not property." "You're too soft," Voss growled. "Both of you." He raised his weapon, but Raylan was faster. Blast. The shot hit Voss's shoulder. He fell back with a scream. "Go," Raylan shouted. They rushed back into the maintenance tunnel, carrying the children. Behind them, Voss yelled, "Into his communicator. Send the hunters now." They made it to a backup exit hatch. Sarah cracked the lock with her tools. The door opened and fresh air filled their lungs. The Hawk 7 was still docked outside, untouched. They loaded the children quickly. Raylan ran to the control panel. "Let's get out of here before Voss brings his people." Just as the ship powered up, 3 unknown vessels appeared on radar, fast, armed, and closing in. "We have company," Sarah said. Raylan looked at the children. "We can't fight. We run." The Hawk 7 shot into warp, escaping just in time. But as they flew through hyperspace, Raylan sat in silence. His hands were shaking. "We just exposed something massive," he said. "But this was only one ship. How many more are out there?" Sarah placed a hand on his shoulder. "We have the evidence now, and we have witnesses. We're going to stop them." Raylan looked back at the children. "Not if they stop us first." Shadows of the traitor. The stars blurred past the windows of Hawk 7 as the ship flew through hyperspace. But even in the safety of warp, the air inside felt tense. The rescued children sat in silence, too tired to cry, too scared to speak. Raylan stood by the control panel, staring at the encrypted black box in his hand. "We have proof," he said quietly. "Logs, cargo records, video evidence, everything." Sarah Vox sat beside one of the smaller alien kids, wrapping a blanket around him. The child clutched her hand like it was the only safe thing left in the universe. But if Voss was part of this, Sarah said, who else is? Raylan didn't answer, but his mind raced. This wasn't just a criminal act. This was a coordinated operation, and someone in command was hiding it. They finally exited hyperspace and reached Station Orion 12, a neutral hub used by law enforcement and traders. It was safer than any Galactic Council base for now. We'll hide here and contact HQ, Raylan said. Sarah nodded. We need medical help for the kids. They landed quietly and entered through the side docking bay. The station was crowded, but no one noticed the strange group of a human officer, an alien partner, and a group of frightened children. They found a secure room in the lower levels of the station. Sarah activated signal blockers to hide their location. Raylan plugged the black box into his portable scanner. Data loaded slowly. Names, shipment records, location logs, credits buyers. His stomach turned. This isn't just one group, he whispered. This is an entire network across sectors. Dozens of ships, hundreds of children, maybe more. Just then, his communicator lit up. Captain Lyra, his commanding officer, appeared on the screen. Raylan, she said, you went off mission. Where are you? Raylan looked at Sarah, hesitated, then responded. We found Vector Dawn. It was carrying smuggled alien children. Dozens. No crew. We have them safe now. Lyra's expression didn't change, but her eyes narrowed. You went dark. You disappeared into warp. Why? We were attacked. By Commander Voss, Raylan said. He's alive. And he's part of the operation. The screen went silent for a moment. Then Lyra said, bring the children and the evidence back to Central Fleet Base. We'll handle it. Sarah leaned in. No, she said. Too dangerous. Someone inside your command helped Voss cover this up. We're not going anywhere near fleet headquarters until we know who to trust. Raylan looked at Lyra again. I'll send the evidence from here, he said, but Lyra frowned. I'm ordering you to return, Officer Jennings. The screen went black. She's lying, Sarah said. I could feel it. She didn't even ask if the children were okay, Raylan muttered. That's not normal. Sarah moved to the console. We can't trust command anymore. Suddenly, the room lights blinked. Emergency lockdown activated. They found us, Raylan whispered. The door burst open. Armed soldiers entered, but they weren't in official fleet uniforms. Black armor. No insignia. Mercenaries. Raylan fired first. Sarah rolled to the side and took down 2 guards with her stun rifle. Protect the children, she shouted. The fight was fast and brutal. The children hid under metal benches as the room filled with smoke and blaster fire. Raylan slammed the last attacker against the wall. Who sent you? He growled. The mercenary laughed. You're already dead, officer, you just don't know it yet. They escaped through a maintenance shaft, crawling through steam pipes and wires. The children followed, terrified, but silent. Where now? Sarah asked. Raylan pulled out a small card. I have 1 contact left, someone who owes me. They reached Station Zero, a lawless outpost on the edge of the old zones, full of smugglers, bounty hunters, and exiles. There, they met Dr. Enzo Callan, a former scientist turned rebel who now helped protect victims of war. Enzo scanned the children. Their bodies are weak, he said, but their minds, some of them show signs of telepathic ability. What? Raylan asked. Yes. The smugglers weren't just selling orphans, they were hunting children with rare powers. Raylan's blood ran cold. They're not just cargo, they're weapons. That night, while the children slept, Raylan and Sarah sat in silence. This wasn't just about credits, she said. They want control, power. And if these children grow up in the wrong hands, Raylan stood. His voice was firm. Then we won't let that happen. He looked out into the stars. We're not just rescuing them now. We're fighting back. Escape and betrayal. The underground shelter beneath Station Zero was cold and dimly lit. Pipes leaked steam overhead, and the air smelled of rust and oil. It wasn't much, but it was the safest place they could find for now. Raylan stood at a table, maps and data scattered in front of him. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of what he now knew. 15 children rescued, he whispered. But this network, it's global, possibly galaxy-wide. Saravok entered, holding a datapad. Dr. Enso finished medical scans, she said softly. 3 of the children have rare neural patterns. They're not just orphans. They were being selected. For what? Raylan asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Sarah didn't respond. Instead, she tapped her wrist and brought up an image. A destroyed outpost in Sector 3. Classified. Burned to the ground. This place was wiped out last year, she said. They said it was an accident, but look at this. She zoomed in. Among the ruins, a tracking collar like the ones the children wore. They were testing them there, she added. The children, their abilities. And when things went wrong, they erased everything. Raylan clenched his jaw. And the fleet covered it up. Not just the fleet, Sarah said. Someone high up, this isn't just corruption, it's a hidden agenda. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the safe house. Proximity alert. Incoming ships. How? Raylan shouted. We blocked our signal. Dr. Enso ran in. They must have planted a tracker on one of the children's collars. They found us. Outside, 2 black fleet cruisers descended, flanked by hunter drones. We can't fight them, Enso said. You have to run. Sarah moved fast. There's a hidden launch port under the old scrapyard. We can take the kids there. Raylan hesitated. And you? Enso smiled sadly. Someone has to stall them. I owe you, Raylan. Now go. The team moved through the back tunnels. Above them, they heard explosions as the enemy breached the safe house. They reached the scrapyard, where a rusted cargo hauler sat under tarps. It looked dead, but Sarah had other plans. This ship's old, but its jump core works, she said. Can it fly? Raylan asked. Long enough to get us out of here. They loaded the children inside. Just as they powered up the engines, the enemy arrived. Ships surrounded them. Raylan opened comms. We're transporting rescued children. Back off or we'll broadcast what we found, a cold voice replied. Do it. No one will believe you. Inside the hauler, the children began to panic. The lights flickered. Then something strange happened. One of the children, a small, pale alien with silver eyes, stood up. His body glowed faintly. And suddenly, every control system in the enemy ship started to glitch. Sarah, Raylan said. What's happening? He's doing it, she whispered. The child, he's not just telepathic, he's technopathic. Raylan stared in awe. He's controlling their ships. Sarah turned to the child. Can you give us a way out? The boy nodded slowly. Enemy shields collapsed. Their ship engines froze. The path cleared. Raylan hit the thrusters. Get ready to jump. The cargo hauler blasted through the blockade, shaking under stress, but holding together. As they left orbit, the child collapsed in Sarah's arms. Drained but alive. He saved us, she said. Raylan nodded. And they'll do anything to take him back. They made the jump to a hidden sector, an old rebel hideout deep in asteroid territory. For now, they were safe, but the damage was done. Dr. Enso was likely gone, and someone had betrayed them. Raylan sat alone in the darkened cockpit. He replayed the moment Commander Lyra insisted they return, the way she avoided his questions. He pulled up his old comm logs, and there it was, a message sent to Fleet Command before Raylan had reported in. She knew, he whispered. She knew before I even called her. Just then, Sarah entered. We decoded more files from the black box. She handed him a data chip. The buyers aren't just criminals. Some are fleet officers, some are politicians. This goes all the way to the top. Raylan closed his eyes. Then we burn it all down. The hidden planet. The sky outside was a field of broken rock and quiet stars. Raylan's stolen cargo hauler drifted between asteroids, hiding in a forgotten system far beyond any fleet scanner. The rebel base they'd found was old, abandoned, for years, but it would have to do. Inside, the air was quiet, but the tension was not. Raylan stood over a holomap, staring at the blinking coordinates Sarah had just discovered. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. Sarah nodded slowly. "The smugglers used this planet as their main transfer point. They never listed it by name, only as Zone 0. And the children, they were taken there before being sold?" "Yes. Some of the files call it a preparation station. Others call it a farm." Raylan didn't speak for a moment. The word made his skin crawl. "What do they mean by farm?" Sarah's voice was low. "It's where they kept the children, tested them, trained them, broke them. Only the strongest were selected to be sold. The others disappeared." Down in the lower decks, the children sat in silence. They were different. Now not just scared, but aware. More of them had started to display strange behaviors. One girl could understand languages she'd never heard before. Another boy could sense danger seconds before it happened. And the silver-eyed child who had saved them? His abilities were growing, stronger, but so was the risk. "They're not just alien children," Raylan said to Sarah. "They're evolved, enhanced, maybe even created. And someone out there sees them as weapons," Sarah replied. Later that night, a small figure crept into the control room. It was Kale, one of the youngest alien boys. His skin was pale blue, his eyes glowing dimly in the dark. He looked up at Raylan and said in a voice not quite his own, "You can't run from them. They already see you." Raylan knelt down. "What do you mean?" Kale blinked slowly. "The one with the mask, the man who smells like smoke. He's coming. He wants the girl with the dreams. He says she sees the future." Raylan's blood went cold. Kale turned and walked away without another word. Sarah ran the child's brain scans. "He's not lying," she said. "He's picking up thoughts from far away. Dreams, whispers, maybe even memories." Raylan took a deep breath. "We need to go to Zone 0. Shut this down before they find us again." "It's a trap," Sarah warned. "I know," he said. "But this time, we're setting the rules." The planet, they jumped to the outer edge of the hidden system. Before them was Zone 0, a cold, dead world, covered in dust clouds and storms. No sunlight pierced its skies. But through the mist, giant towers rose from the surface, black, metallic, humming with power. "It's alive," Sarah whispered. The scanners couldn't identify the material. The planet itself seemed shielded, invisible from long-range scans. That's why no one ever found it. Raylan steered the ship toward an opening in the atmosphere. The sky groaned and twisted as they descended. Inside the towers were buildings, labs, cells, and wide domes filled with strange machines. There was no sign of life. Not yet. They landed inside a wide dome marked Zone 0 Alpha. As soon as the ramp opened, the children began to shake. Kale pointed to a wall and whispered, "We were here." Sarah moved quickly. "This place is triggering their memories." Raylan nodded. "Good. That means we're in the right place." They moved inside. The halls were strangely clean, silent. Monitors still blinked with old data. They passed empty. Cages, broken chains, shattered chairs. Then they found the records room. Sarah accessed the system. "These files are from over 15 years ago," she said. "Some of these children were born here." Raylan leaned in. "What?" "This wasn't just a prison," she whispered. "It was a breeding lab. They created the children here. Mixed species, altered DNA. Some were designed for strength, others for control." Raylan stood back, horrified. "They were growing them," he said. "Like weapons." Suddenly, alarms screamed through the tower. Unauthorized presence detected. Lockdown initiated. Doors slammed shut. Lights turned red. Then the voice returned, the same masked voice from Vector Dawn. "Welcome back, Officer Jennings. We've been waiting." A projection appeared in the air, a tall figure in a black suit and mask. No name, no rank, just cold presence. These children are not yours to protect. They are property of the Galactic Defense Science Division. Sarah's voice was full of rage. They're children. They have names, lives. Not anymore, the figure replied. They are projects, and you've just walked into the core of our facility. Suddenly, gas began to fill the corridors. Raylan grabbed the children. Back to the ship now. But as they ran, Cale turned, and his eyes went wide. Behind them, figures were moving. Dozens of them. Not guards, not soldiers, other children, older, stronger, faster, and completely under control. The first generation, Sarah said. They didn't escape. Raylan raised his weapon. They didn't just build a lab here. He looked around. They built an army, or at the edge of space. The walls of Zone Zero trembled as the hidden base came alive. Sirens blared, doors slammed, red lights blinked overhead like angry eyes, and down every hallway they marched. Not soldiers, not machines, but children, grown into weapons, silent, emotionless, eyes glowing with control implants. Raylan stepped back, shielding Cale and the others behind him. Sarah aimed her blaster with both hands, her breath steady but her heart racing. First-generation test subjects, she said. They were trained to obey. They don't think, they follow orders. Raylan looked into their faces. Not one showed pain. Not one blinked. How many? He whispered. Sarah checked her scanner. 47, and they're closing in. The eye, first wave charged. Fast. Unnatural. Coordinated like machines. Raylan opened fire, but they kept coming. Dodging, leaping, using walls like walkways. Sarah used her shock pulse grenade. Boom! A wave of blue energy knocked a few back. Cale stepped forward, raising his small hand. Don't! Raylan shouted, but it was too late. A surge of invisible force blasted out from Cale, slamming the attackers against the walls. Sparks flew from their control implants. The children collapsed, unconscious but alive. Sarah stared at Cale in shock. He's evolving faster than we thought. Cale blinked, confused and scared. I didn't mean to hurt them, he whispered. Raylan knelt. You didn't. You saved us. They ran deeper into the base, avoiding security drones and laser turrets. Sarah hacked the doors. Cale guided them through blocked paths, his mind somehow remembering the layout. They reached a control room. The masked man's image appeared again. You can't stop the program, he said. This isn't about slavery. It's about survival. These children are the next step in galactic evolution. Born to lead. Born to win wars we haven't fought yet. Raylan's voice was cold. You're using children as weapons, and yet, the masked man replied, you're using them to escape, to survive, to fight. How different are you? The screen shut off. Sarah whispered, he's not just mad, he believes in this. Suddenly, a deep hum began in the walls. Sarah looked at the core readings. Oh no, he's powering up the planetary defense grid. What does that mean? Raylan asked. If we don't get off this world in 10 minutes, this whole facility will become a death trap. Auto defense turrets, orbital weapons, anti-air shields. No ship will get out alive. Raylan slammed his fist into the table. We need help. Cale looked up, eyes glowing faintly. Then let me call them. He walked to a terminal, placed both hands on it. Suddenly, every screen on the planet lit up, every camera, every sensor, flickered to life. And a signal was sent. Not just to one place, but across the galaxy, on the edge of known space. In orbit above Station Talon Prime, a secret fleet command center suddenly lit up with incoming messages, hundreds of logs, visual proof, coordinates of Zone Zero, names of buyers, children crying for help. And the face of the masked man, caught mid-transmission. 1. Officer turned to the council leaders. Sir, the evidence is live. streaming across all secure networks. The commander's face turned pale. "It's out," he said. "They exposed everything." Back on Zone 0, Raylan grabbed the children and raced for the ship. Outside the base, the ground trembled. Enemy cruisers began descending. Fleet ships, not Black Market Official Fleet Command. But this time they weren't there to help the smugglers. They had come to shut it all down. As the skies erupted with light and laser fire, Raylan's ship lifted from the ground. Behind them, explosions ripped through the towers. The base had triggered its own destruction. A voice echoed through the radio. Zone 0 breach confirmed. Termination protocol initiated. Raylan flew upward, dodging debris and shockwaves. Sarah looked back. The first-gen children. We left them. Raylan clenched the controls. They were victims too. "I know," she said, "but some were already beyond saving." A silence passed between them. "We'll save who we can," Raylan said. "We'll keep fighting." They broke through the atmosphere just as orbital cannons fired, the sky burning behind them. Their ship shook but held together. They were out, alive, free. But the war had just begun. A new home. The stars were calm again. The war was over, for now. But the scars remained. Raylan sat alone in the flight deck of the old cargo hauler, watching the stars drift past. His hands were on the controls, but his mind was far away. Still, inside the burning towers of Zone 0, still hearing the voices of children that never made it out. Behind him, quiet laughter broke the silence. He turned and saw Kale and Mira, the Dreamseer girl, playing a simple card game on the floor. For the first time they looked like children. Real children. Free Sarah entered quietly and sat beside Raylan. "We got the message," she said. "The Galactic Council finally made it official." "What message?" She held out a data chip. Raylan took it and played the recording. A calm voice spoke. "Effective immediately, Project Zone 0 and all related programs have been declared illegal. All victims will receive protection. The program leaders are being hunted, and those who expose them are cleared of all charges." Raylan exhaled deeply. "It's over." Sarah shook her head. "No, it's just beginning." The sanctuary planet. They landed 2 days later on a small green world in an unmarked system. It had no cities, no towers, no weapons, just forests, oceans, and sunlight. The planet had been given a new name, Solace 9. Built in secret by a group of ex-rebels, scientists, and guardians, it would now serve one purpose: a sanctuary for the rescued children from across the galaxy. Raylan stepped out of the ship, his boots touching the soft grass. Children from other missions were already there, playing, laughing, planting trees. The sound of life. He felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. Sarah walked with Kyle to a small cabin near a lake. "This one is yours," she said gently. "You're safe now." Kyle looked up at her. "Will you stay?" Sarah smiled. "Of course, for as long as you want." Kyle nodded, holding her hand tightly. Later that night, the leaders of the sanctuary gathered. There were only 6 of them: Raylan, Sarah, a rebel doctor, a peacekeeper, a fleet defector, and an old alien woman who had once escaped Zone 0 herself. They stood around a fire. Raylan spoke first. "We saved 53 children." The alien woman nodded. "But more are still out there." Sarah added, "We'll find them. We'll give them a home." The peacekeeper said quietly, "You know they'll come after you. The people behind Zone 0, they haven't stopped. They've just gone deeper." Raylan looked up at the stars. "Then we go deeper too." Months later, the sanctuary grew. Dozens of cabins now filled the valley. Alien families arrived, offering to adopt or foster the children. But some of the children didn't want new families. They wanted each other, a new tribe, a new generation. Bound by pain but also by strength, Kale, Mira, and others began to train. not as weapons but as protectors. Raylan and Sarah guided them, not as commanders but as guardians. The children learned how to use their powers safely, how to dream, how to feel, how to live. But far away in the shadows between star systems, a ship drifted silently. Inside, the masked man stood over a large chamber. Rows of new stasis pods lined the walls, each holding a child, sleeping and silent, not rescued, not freed, still owned. He turned to his assistant. How many generations do we need before they can fight a war of gods? The assistant replied, 3, maybe 4. The masked man nodded. Then let the next one begin. And this time, no more leaks. Back on Solace. 9. It was early morning. Raylan sat outside his cabin watching the sunrise. Kale walked over with Mira. We had a dream, Kale said. Raylan raised an eyebrow. Together? They nodded. We saw a ship, Mira said. A dark one, and more children. Crying. Raylan stood slowly. Are you sure? Yes, Kale whispered. They're still out there. Raylan looked out at the sky, where the sun was rising over the mountains. He picked up his old fleet badge from the table, then dropped it into the fire. Then we go find them. The end.